Right, right. Let's start now.
Yes.
So hi guys, my name is Vishal. I have not had a lot of interaction with the whole team, but I work in the digital wing as a digital marketing advertiser. So my presentation today is something which will make like all of us very proud. It's based on UPI. It's more or less everybody knows, everybody has a use in this technology in their daily lifestyle. And this is something which we really need to be proud of, because it's like one of the most prominent technologies that has come from India and developed India, and which is being used like globally all over the world, and has now been accepted. So just to get started, UPI is, as we all know, is an instant real-time payment system. It was developed by NPCI, and it started off in April 2009, which also marked the inception of NPCI. It's more or less, NPCI is a branch of or a subsidiary of an RBI, which was mainly formed to stop all the corruption, all the black markets, and mainly after the demonetization. So the census said that RBI found in March 2011 that only 6 non-cash transactions happen every year per individual, while there were almost 10 million retailers that were accepting card-based payment, and like around more than 145 million families, they did not have any proper banking accesses in India, or they did not know that how to operate their money, even if they had like proper let's say white sheets, or they had all legit transactions, but they were not able to take advantages because of many problems that because of the infrastructure, or a lot of other things. So it is also a part of the green initiative that in order to solve uh, decrease of the usage of paper in the market, which UPI initiated. So if we talk about the market share for UPI, as of December 2020, there are almost 207 banks that have started enrolling in with UPI, and the volumes, if we talk about, is almost at 4.16 million transactions, and somewhere around like 55 billion. The mobile payment system helped transact a total of 17.29 lakh crore during only the 37th month. And like the pandemic also increased a lot of traction for UPI, because since the lockdown started, people did not really have access to immediate cash centers, or ATMs and so that. So that is one of the reasons also that the success of UPI came across. And at this point of time, the platform currently has 100 million monthly active users, and they have a target of somewhere around 500 million by 2025, which is, very, very achievable, because I think with the popularity of UPI and a lot of other new vendors that are getting into UPI, and showing platform a very good sign of growth. So India crossed and became the largest real-time payment market with almost 25.5 billion annual transactions, which also left China and United States behind in the year 2020 when it comes to online real-time payments. So if we talk about the inception where we started, so UPI only started with almost like 93,000 transactions that were recorded in 2016 when it initially launched, and it almost generated around like 8 million transactions in 2019 with a value of 1.33 trillion rupees. So like this is completely because of the popularity, and secondly it being so easily accessible for both of the parties, like the consumer and the person who is making the transactions. So it is almost 18 billion annual transaction, and has almost surpassed many major bank or many major financial bodies like American Express. By late August 2020, it is predicted that UPI will also surpass Visa and MasterCard by almost by 2023. So UPI, as we know that it's fairly new. It almost took like 3 years to reach 1.14 billion in October 2019. By the end of October 2020, the payment system registered almost 2.7 billion transactions in the year 2020 itself only. So, mainly because of the lockdown and everything. So if we talk about, the GDP, like all the consumers who started, transacting through UPI, it was almost recorded that, the total amount, which is somewhere around 457 billion, which is 15% of our domestic growth GDP. The whole transactions were recorded through UPI. So if we talk about UPI, as a global technology product, or people, seeing UPI in other countries, or, acceptance of UPI, I would rather say, since India is a very big market, and there are a lot of online transactions that happen, from India with other countries like US, China. So there are a lot of, let's say, other bodies that have started accepting UPI. For example, like a cross-border digital payment service provider called Liquid Group, they have signed with MOU with NIPL in September, and introducing UPI-based QR payments in Singapore, Malaysia, Thailand, Philippines, and all these Asian countries, as well as UAE and also Japan. So from 2022, these are all the countries which would be accepting, UPI as a payment, or as a verified payment option. So seeing the success of UPI, nonetheless, US also started following our steps, and they developed a real-time payment in 2019 called FedNow, which is very similar to the technology that UPI uses, and that is currently in place at this point of time now. So as I talked about, the numbers that, since India is a very global market, so the numbers that are there is around 777 million Indian, consumers that shop across border. So that is why, to make the ease of payment, they have started signing memorandums with, UK-based PRPO financials, and expanding the acceptance of UPI, especially in China and United States. So the future of UPI, they have started developing voice-based, when it comes to the technology part of it. So NPCI is in terms with Ubona Technologies, and they are working with a voice-based, payment service feature, which will, be very efficient for people who are, who lack proper functionality, or, who lack certain, let's say, knowledge of operating the platform. Also, as I told in the previous slides as well, UPI has made a drastic change when it comes to the payment gateway, or when it comes to the real-time payment market, when it compares to, if we compare it to other countries. So it has made us a very, let's say, business leader at this point of time, because we surpassed almost a lot of good nations, or let's say, a lot of developed nations that were there. So the future for UPI at this point of time, I mean, like, all of us must have started seeing is, mainly they have started application of their overdraft account. For it, the very basic example for that would be a Paytm wallet, that banks like Paytm have started creating their overdrafts account, where they offer people, let's say, a special account, or a proxy account, where you can have your all your fundings, irrespective from where they're coming from, or you could have just a wallet altogether. There's another um, policy, I would say, or technology that is in place, and which would be rolling out in the next few years, is e-rupee. And e-rupee is more or less, it's a technology we uh, where we could, have a very clear understanding of where we are, giving our funds, or let's say where we are giving our tax. And I give 10 rupees to an HDFC CSR project, I do not know whether, that 10 rupees is being utilized or where that 10 rupees is going. So this is e-rupee is something which will, help private sectors and use their CSR initiatives, and by, bypassing all the middlemen and, the corruption, it would be a service where the other recipient would directly, take advantage or directly get the benefit from the person who is actually, initiating this welfare scheme. So it would be in the form of, let's say, an e-voucher or a QR code or a SMS code that would be sent to the recipient who is actually, who is being granted the, let's say, subsidiary, or who is being granted the initiative, rather than, it passing through 10 people and then finally reaching the recipient with a, deducted amount. So this is, all that I have for my presentation today, and I hope it was something, which is very gainful for all of us, because this is something which is very common, and I didn't knew before this that, UPI is something which is an effort by India and, being used globally. So do we have any questions?
Thank you. Can we stop the recording, please?
Yes, sure.